day, grade 8 learners. Welcome to my YouTube channel. For today's lesson, I will be discussing about forces. But before that, if you're new to my channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for you to update in the next lesson. Our learning objective for this lesson: to investigate the relationship between the amount of force applied and the mass of an object to the amount of change in the object's motion. Take a look of this illustration. What did you observe? If your answer is that all illustration shows forces or exerted forces, then you are correct. So let us define first what is force. Force is a push or pull upon an object resulting from the interaction with another object and makes an object move or stop. In this illustration, a boy pushes a car and the car changes its position because of the applied force given by the boy. Question: if the object keeps moving, is there anything can be used to stop the object? Yes, of course, and that is also a force. So please bear these following terminologies that we will discuss later on. Let us start with the first word, which is magnitude. Magnitude is the strength of force. It also affects the velocity of an object. If you push an object with a strong force, the object will move fast in the line of action because the amount of force affects the motion of the object. Remember, the greater the magnitude, the faster the velocity. When we say magnitude, it is composed of a number and unit. The magnitude of an object is expressed in different ways. Newton for MKS or meter kilogram second system, dyne for CGS or centimeter gram second system, and pounds for foot pound second system. But in international system of unit, we use Newton, and 1 Newton is equivalent to 1 kilogram meter per seconds. The unit of Newton was named after the great mathematician and physicist Sir Isaac Newton. The next one is direction. Direction is a point where the object goes. The next word that we talk about is a point of application. Point of application is the location where the force is applied. And lastly is the line of action. Line of action is the straight line along the point of application and parallel to the direction of forces. Now, you understand already those words. Let us discuss the type of forces. We have two types of forces: the contact force and the non-contact forces. Let us discuss this one by one. Contact force is a type of force that needs physical contact to another object. Examples: applied force, friction force, normal force, and tension force. The first one is applied force. This is a type of force given or exerted to an object. This force shows the changing in position of the object. We use the uppercase letter F as a symbol of force. On the other hand, friction force is a type of force opposing the object's motion, meaning this causes the movement of an object to stop or slow down. The symbol for friction force is F of F. The other example of contact force is a normal force. Normal force acts perpendicular to the surface or object. When an object is placed on the surface, the gravity pulled the object towards the earth. The surface exerted equally force upward to the object, and that force is called normal force. The symbol used for normal force is F of N. The last example for contact force is tension force. It is a type of force applied to string, rope, cable, and chain. It resists force that causes object to stretch. The symbol used for tension force is F of T. The other type of forces is the non-contact force. Non-contact force is a force that do not require contact to other object. Non-contact force has two types, namely gravitational force and magnetic force. Let us discuss this one by one, and let's start with the gravitational force. Gravitational force is a force of attraction between two objects. This force tends an object to pull towards the earth. If the normal force is a force exerted from surface upward, gravity is a type of force exerted towards the earth or downward. The other one is the magnetic force. Magnetic force is a type of force exerted on a field of attraction or repulsion, meaning this force exerted between the pole of a magnet and a magnetic material. In this case, rule of attraction and repulsion takes place. Opposite pole attract, like poles repel. Forces affects its motion. It is said to be balanced and unbalanced. If the forces on an object are equal and opposite, they are said to be balanced, meaning the object experiences no change in motion. If they are not equal and opposite, then the forces are unbalanced and the motion of the object changes. As you have seen in the picture, both of the teams exerted the same amount of force, meaning that is equal or balanced. It has no change in terms of motion because both of them exerted the same amount of forces. Meanwhile, the other team exerted the higher amount of forces. Definitely, it is said to be unbalanced and the motion changes. Forces can be calculated using net force. Net force is the sum of all forces acting on an object. The net force is said to be balanced if it is equal to 0, while unbalanced if the net force is greater than 0. In calculating net force, it is very important to know the rule of signs applying to direction. When the force is going to right side, the force is positive. When it is going to left side, the force is negative. When the force is going upward, the force is positive, while if it is going downward, the force is negative. The formula for calculating net force is F net is equal to summation of forces, or F net is equal to F sub A plus F sub B. The symbol sigma represents summation. Since we're talking about forces, that is the summation of forces. Sa pag-add or sum ng forces, Depende yan kung ilan ang forces na given into different direction. That's why the F net is equal to F sub A coming from the first direction or first group, while the other one, F sub B, coming from the another direction or another group. Remember, forces from vertical and horizontal directions cannot combine or added, meaning the directions from vertical, which are upward and downward, and horizontal, which are right side and left side, cannot be combined at the same time. You can only combine forces in the same line of direction. Example, two forces are exerted from opposite direction. Yung isa dyan from left side, which is 75 Newton, and yung nasa right side naman, that is 300 Newton. In this case, we must apply the rule of sign. All sign coming from the left side is negative, and all sign coming from the right side is positive. So we change that as negative 75 Newton and positive 300 Newton. So let us proceed to the formula using these forces with applied signs. So F net is equal to negative 75 Newton plus 300 Newton. Your total force or F net is positive 225 Newton. So bakit positive 225 Newton? Pag natin kakalimutan yung isa sa mga rule of sign, kung ano yung mas malaki ang value, yun ang susundin ng sign. Since dito sa given forces, the higher value is 300 Newton, which is positive, definitely the final answer is still in positive. In this case, you can consider or you can identify which side exerted the higher amount of force to an object. Take a look of this illustration. Sa unang picture, makikita dyan na binubuo yan ng dalawang team. Both of the team exerted same or equal amount of forces. Kapag kinumpute mo yan at ginamit mo yung formula in calculating net force, the net force is equivalent to 0. Why? Negative 300 Newton plus positive 300 Newton, that is unlike sign, and pareha sila ng amount ng forces that is equivalent to 0. On the other hand, the other picture also consists of two teams wherein yung isa sa team na yan ay may mataas na amount ng forces. When you calculate it, negative 400 Newton. Bakit negative? Dahil yung direction nito ay left side and the left side has a negative sign. Negative 400 plus positive 300, the answer will be negative. The net force will be negative 100 Newton. So to better understand what we are discussing, let us have first a recap. In this lesson, diniscuss natin yung force, type ng forces, which are the contact and non-contact forces. Example ng contact force, applied, normal, tension, and friction force. Sa non-contact force naman, meron tayong gravitational and magnetic. We also discussed the balance and unbalanced force and the net force. To check your understanding, it's quiz time. I'm giving you 3 minutes to answer this quiz. And that's all our lesson for today. See you in our next vlog class. If you want more topics to discuss, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more updates in our science class. Bye!